Greetings, children of the screen. Your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again, coming at you with another episode of The Batman I Believe In, the Bat-centric show where we talk about anything and everything as long as it even remotely pertains to the Caped Crusader, such is the case today, where we're going to be getting my reactions and opinions on the film Joker, with Joaquin Phoenix, directed by Todd Phillips. So funny thing, originally this was going to be a live video with me and Taylor, because we both went and saw the movie. So we saw the movie, we came home, we did our little live stream and everything. Turns out it's completely useless because my microphone's broken. And unfortunately she has to work tomorrow, so she already went to bed. But we kind of had a similar consensus on the film, so I'm just going to run through our thoughts on it real fast for you guys. Right on. So, first off, I enjoyed this film. I thought it was a pretty solid film. Taylor thought it was a really fantastic film. And one last warning before we get into this, there are definitely going to be some spoilers in here, guys, major spoilers, so if you haven't actually seen the movie yet, then definitely want to duck out and come back afterwards. Anyway, like, we both enjoyed the film, and we both thought that on, more or less different levels, it was a good film. The cinematography in the film is absolutely fantastic. The writing in the film is very, very good, for the most part. The direction in general in the film is very, very nice. I also really love the score for this film. It's absolutely fantastic. With all the, emotional peaks and valleys this movie takes you to, without a score that was this good, I don't think it would have the same visceral feeling and that you would have the same visceral reaction to some of these moments. Whenever Joker is flying high, the music is whimsical and beautiful, and they bring in a lot of source music, too, from, radios and stuff, and the way that they play. It's not just the score, actually. The whole sound design for the film is absolutely fantastic. So yes, the film has plenty of things that are just absolutely great about it. People are not wrong when they've been saying that. Now, while we both said that, we also were both in agreement on this. This movie was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Now, if you watched my videos before or, heard me talking about it, I kind of expected this movie to be a good film that's a really shitty Joker movie, and I was absolutely right. And again, I know way more about Batman and Joker than Taylor does, but she kind of had the same consensus that, in this movie, there is absolutely zero of anything recognizable as the character we know as Joker from the comic books or movies or other adaptations. Obviously, for me personally, you give the character a backstory, you fundamentally... and Joker's had backstories in the comics before. We've given him definite backstories before. Even though Killing Joke is not a definite backstory. Joker says in that, sometimes he remembers it one way, sometimes he remembers it another, it's going to be multiple choice. It's always kept ambiguous and vague, because that is what enables Joker to be a force of nature. An agent of chaos, as people say. We've had origins for him, but that's why, every time they reboot stuff, they wipe that out, because it ruins the character. It ruins the best aspect of the character. And with this, we not only get a backstory, but we get a sympathetic backstory, and that is the other thing. Joker is the only Batman villain who is without some element of empathy or without pathos, without pathos. All the other characters are, laden in these very human, emotional stories, but every time Joker's backstory gets told and we get those moments, it turns out that they're bullshit. And in this movie, they're not bullshit. They do make you feel for this guy and, for his position in the world, which is great for the movie they're doing. It's not great for a Joker story. And I could continue on with that, but, literally, you go down... the only thing that makes this even remotely resemble a Joker movie is the fact that he vaguely has the same iconography in terms of his, final image. Vaguely has the same as Joker. And again, Joker's a character that's been interpreted multiple times, and there have been some very extreme interpretations, but even with something like Heath Ledger's Joker, where it's a very different interpretation, they change a lot of things about the character, a lot of the core aspects of what makes Joker Joker are still there, and they're still maintained. And as the filmmakers of this film said going in, they weren't actually out to make a Joker movie. They were out to make a good movie with a good story that people would go see because it had the name Joker on it. They're making a movie about a guy becoming the Joker, but it's their Joker. It's not comic book Joker, and they were very clear about that. So yeah, going into it, I kind of knew this wasn't going to be a great Joker movie. And it definitely wasn't going to be the Joker movie I wanted to see. Because it is absolute madness that it's the first Joker solo film, and we're not even getting the iconic Joker. A Joker we've actually never gotten in a movie before. Like, Jack Nicholson comes close in the first Batman movie, but even with that, we get a definite backstory for him, and he's the guy who kills the Waynes. Oh, by the way, that's going to come back up here in a minute. But yeah, so, like, even that isn't a pure, like, iconic, true Joker movie. Like, that Joker's not, that's not what he is. So, like, it's insanity that now we've had 3 movies in a row where they felt the need to completely reinvent the Joker, and each time he gets further and further away from what makes Joker Joker. It's really infuriating, despite how good this movie is. Now, that's all I'm going to harp on, how this is a bad Joker movie. Next, I'm going to move into why, yes, this is a bad Joker movie, but it's a pretty good movie. And the reason it's not a great movie is because all of the other extraneous bullshit that they shoved in this movie to try to make up for the fact that this was so not a Joker movie. Okay, so it's an Elseworld story. I get it. It's a different take on the character, but you're also, like, moving very far away from what the character is supposed to be. Like, you kind of give up the idea of what an Elseworld is, where you keep the core tenets of the character. So it's not even really an Elseworld story, and it's not a very good representation of Joker. So what are you going to do? Why don't we throw a bunch of stuff from the DC continuity into this movie, just to muddy the waters? So, we get Joker, we get Arkham, and we get Gotham. All those things, I feel, are fine pillars to maintain. And if that had been the only thing else in this movie, then I wouldn't have had a problem with that aspect. It wouldn't have, in my opinion, impeded on the movie they're trying to make. Here is the problem, and we're going to get into some spoilers now, okay? So, in this movie, Joker believes Thomas Wayne to be his father, meaning that Bruce Wayne would be his brother. Apparently, his mother is kind of psychotic like him, even though they're not blood related, which is another, like, interesting aspect to the movie, but, like, it's never really explored to an extent that we can really, like, get anything valuable from it. But yeah, so she was delusional and basically had an adopted son, who was him, Joker, and then, like, fabricated this, a delusion and a fantasy in her head that Thomas Wayne was the father. So Joker thinks that Thomas Wayne is his father. And because of this, and, like, then he gets to look at Bruce, who, yeah, Bruce is in this movie, and he's living, like, the ideal life in this beautiful house, while, like, Joker and his mother have had to live in squalor their whole lives. So, like, you have this scene where, you have 2 different scenes, where Joker, in one of the scenes, confronts Bruce, and then in another scene, confronts Thomas Wayne. And again, Bruce is a little boy, he's, like, 8. And there's this scene that, on one hand, is played very sweet, and then gets very intense and creepy at the end. And I was so bored in this scene. Same thing with a scene where he confronts Thomas Wayne. And do you know why it's boring? It's because it's Bruce and Thomas Wayne. We already know what happens to them. And yeah, you can say, like, it's an Elseworld story, but, like, no, if they're introducing these characters in this way, and they want to legitimize this as Joker, the only thing they can do is maintain that part of the mythology of what happens to the Waynes, and that creates Batman. So, no, we know they're not going to die. Like, not now, not in these scenes. So these scenes that are very well written, very well acted, very well shot, have no tension whatsoever. They're completely useless and wasted. Whereas, if these were not the Waynes, if that wasn't Bruce Wayne, if it was just some random little boy who was the son of a rich man, and Joker was, like, infatuated with this rich man thinking he was his father, the whole time that scene's playing out, you would be on the edge of your seat, just like, what if he flips out on this kid? Like, what's going to happen? And the same in the scene with Thomas Wayne. Like, he could do anything. Anything could happen. All of a sudden, you would have a scene that would make you have that feeling that you have in most Joker works, where, like, it's that unpredictability, that chaos, that force of nature element. But because you've, like, had to dangle a carrot in front of the DC fans in hopes that they're not going to be so pissed off that you, like, change the source material so much, you inevitably end up hurting the scene. And then, furthermore, towards the end of the movie, like, they feel the need to show us the Waynes dying, and not only show us the Waynes dying, but make Joker directly responsible for the death of the Waynes. And therefore create Batman. you know, the thing that we all hated from Tim Burton's Batman. The only thing that we hate from Tim Burton's Batman, for the most part, other than Alfred showing Vicky Vale down into the Batcave. There's a lot of kooky crap in that movie, but in general, like us, especially us of a certain age, we love that movie. It's a freaking cool movie. It's a shitty Batman movie, but it's a freaking cool movie. And the thing that most of us hate the most is the fact that Joker is the one who kills Bruce's parents. And in this movie, he doesn't kill Bruce's parents, but he is directly responsible for the death of the Waynes, and therefore still creates Batman, therefore removing the element from Batman that, like, the person who killed his parents was just a random mugger. Like, it's a dude wearing a clown mask, okay? Like, and he knows that all this stuff happened because of the rise of the Joker. Like, basically you've given a face and an embodiment to Batman's revenge, therefore nullifying the need for him to wage a war on crime. Now he can focus all his hate and anger and rage at one person. So you never know. But maybe this is the origin of, like, Batfleck. You know, just murder-crazy Batman. Because that's where I see this going. Basically, by including the Waynes in this movie as a way to basically do fan service, because it doesn't add anything, it actually just, like, detracts from the story they're trying to tell. Like, at the end of the day, what they end up with is a movie that's not a great Joker movie, and not the best version of the movie they actually were making, because they felt the need to throw all this extraneous bullshit in there that the movie really doesn't need. You know, like, this movie, if you cut out all that stuff, just change characters' names. That's all you'd have to do, is change characters' names in the movie, and then maybe call this, like, The Man Who Laughs. I think this movie would probably be a 10 times better movie, where it's more of like a character who's allegorical to Joker. But by the end of the movie, they set him up as this universe's Joker. So, yeah, kind of the two different elements of what they're trying to do are really playing against each other. And what you end up with is a movie that's still better than most. For all my bitching and all my whining and all my, like, nerd nitpicking, it's a good movie. Like, I really enjoyed it, and I recommend it. I don't necessarily think you need to go see it in the theaters if you haven't as of yet. Like, obviously, if you're watching this, I really hope that you've seen it already, but I don't think it's a movie that needs to be watched in the theaters. I actually kind of think it might be a movie that's better at home, where you can really just, like, engross. You know, you're not having to worry about what you're going to miss when you get up to go to the bathroom and stuff. But yeah, all in all, not a great Joker movie. Not the best version of the movie that they actually made, but a damn good movie. Better than, like, you know, 9 out of 10, you know? Like, solid movie. So anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. I know a lot of people have been talking about Joker, but if you were nice enough to watch this video all the way to the end, I really appreciate it. And if you liked it, stuck around this long, please leave a like and share it with some friends. Also, if you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe so you can get all the updates and all the dope bat-tastic content I'll have coming out in the future. Furthermore, guys, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, I will have the links for that in the description below. Once again, children of the screen, thank you very much. I'll see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, where we're going to be discussing, me and Taylor, does Batman Forever suck? Nerds come out!